Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. As the title of this video says, where to next for Sword and Shield booster boxes? Now, before we get into answering that question, I promised these guys I'd give them a shout out for a fortnight. It's Pocket Decks, the new app. They're trying to get this off the ground. It's the one-stop shop collection app. There's a real social aspect to this app, which is a bit different. You can obviously add your collection in your items. You can link up with friends. You can suggest trades of each other. You can trade cards, of course, with each other. And then the really different thing is every card, every set, it shows you, the cards you have and the cards you're missing. And you can literally click on one and it takes you straight to TCG Player to purchase that card. So it's something a little bit different. They're trying to get this app off the ground. They've got a few thousand downloads now, probably more than that. Let's get this up and running for them. It'd be great to see some local guys putting in some hard effort, get something off the ground. So shout out to them. I'll leave a link in the description to download. On to the topic at hand though. Sword and Shield booster boxes, where to next? Now, if I was back in university and I was writing a bit of a essay or a thesis on this, my opening statement would be, it ain't done yet. And if I were then to go into some detail and back that statement up with some arguments, it would go a little bit like this. Argument one is the printers seem to be shut off or cooling off for these sets. There are some Sword and Shield sets, and I'm really talking here sort of Chilling Reign onwards, that, Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies, they've gone out of rotation now. The odds of them ever being printed again is so small. The latter Sword and Shield sets are still in rotation, but the likelihood of them getting reprinted, it's got to be getting to the stage where it's so unlikely. Like, personally, I can't see it happening. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but the likelihood is incredibly low. So what I'm getting at is the printers have turned off on these sets pretty much. And we all know what happens when that happens. The printers are off, supply will eventually get eaten into by demand, and then all of a sudden we start to see price rises. And of course, we've already seen them. We've already seen price rises across some good Sword and Shield sets. So with that being said, the only time I can remember during the last 5 years, a Pokemon card set being reprinted outside of its standard rotation period is something like Shining Fates. But you could also argue that was quite a messy period, because throughout COVID, the competitive play stopped for a while because everything was COVID impacted and, people couldn't travel and fly around. And that whole, 1 year sort of standard rotation went a bit funny during that period. So it's a grey area anyway. But that's point number one, or argument number one. The printers, it's just so unlikely that they're ever going to get reprinted any Sword and Shield set. Probably the only set that could be likely is Crown Zenith, but that's just my opinion. It's not a fact. We'll see what happens with that one. Argument number two, though, which is the most important fact, is I think it's following similar trends, and I've seen it before with Sun and Moon. And I want to bring this picture up on the screen. And these are two booster boxes that I bought back in 2021. Unified Minds and Cosmic Eclipse. Now, Cosmic Eclipse never got a reprint, but Unified Minds and Unbroken Bonds, they both copped reprints in 2020. So in 2021, they were 2-year-old sets. And this is what I want to liken it to for you. I want to pick Lost Origin as a set from Sword and Shield era, because Lost Origin is pushing 2 years old. And last year in third quarter, Lost Origin and Silver Tempest both got reprints along with Scarlet and Violet Base. So if Lost Origin got a reprint last year and it's coming up to 2 years old, you could argue it's in a very similar spot if we rewind time back to 2021 when I bought Cosmic Eclipse and Unified Minds. Unified Minds copped a reprint in 2020 and was bought out in 2019. So what I'm getting at is a very similar trend. And we can see almost some similar prices between those two Sun and Moon sets that I'm talking about and Lost Origin. Unified Minds and Cosmic Eclipse, if you look up on the screen here, these weren't the exact prices I got them at. There was, I think, a $10 discount code on both sets. So we're talking like $430 for Cosmic and $410 or $400, I think I picked up Unified Minds for, which for US viewers, which is most of you, is north of $200. It's about $250 for Cosmic Eclipse and probably $240 for Unified Minds at the time. And if you think to yourself, during that time, why would you buy them? They've already gone up so much. They've appreciated over 100% from MSRP. That's ballsy to buy them in at, $430 430 and 420 or 410 for Unified Minds. Like that's a ballsy purchase considering they've already gone up to that price. And then, you know what? You think to yourself, they're actually two of my best performing booster boxes that I've ever bought. I think Evolving Skies is the best performing box that I've ever bought. But in that 3-year period that I've owned Unified Minds and Cosmic Eclipse, Unified Minds has gone up 2.5 times its value. If I paid $400, like that is $1,000 box now in Australia. So $250 US, it's probably, it's got to be a $600 booster box in the US. And Cosmic Eclipse, much the same. That was a $430 box that I paid for it. It's now going for like $1,500 Australian dollars, which has got to be, what's that pushing in US? No, it's got to be a $900 booster box, does it, in the US? So same thing, that's 3 times or over 3 times, nearly 4 times its money in the 3 years that I've owned it. So you could almost argue, like, are they better investments than buying in at MSRP and waiting the 3 years for them to sort of go out of print and even start gaining some traction? You could argue yes. Yes, you've got a higher entry point price, but they're performing so well because they're out of print and they're great sets. And this is the correlation I wanted to make with something like Lost Origin. Yes, it's still available on Pokemon Center US, and until it goes out of, I suppose, out of sight and out of stock, it's not going to make massive gains until it does that. But I can tell you now, the moment it does that, it's just going to go bang, I think. Lost Origin is very close to taking off, and it's going to follow a similar trend to those sets that I was talking about: Unbroken Bonds, Unified Minds, Lost Origin, Cosmic Eclipse. Those latter Sun and Moon sets just went bang. Even though you might have bought in at a higher purchase price, they absolutely took off and went 2x, 3x, 4x their original purchase price from 3 years ago. So like I was saying, that's the correlation I wanted to show you with something like a Lost Origin. We've seen that set go to the moon, get hit by a reprint, and all of a sudden bounce straight back up to where it was. And it's so close to being on the precipice of really taking off. It's a fantastic Pokemon card set. It's got the tiered chase inside it with some mega hits like the Aerodactyl and particularly, of course, that Giratina V. Then you've got that beautiful trainer gallery, which is sort of guaranteed, 1 or 2 of those per booster box. So I just wanted to draw that to your attention when I relate this topic or this part of the argument back to the original statement, which is it ain't done yet. I can guarantee you sets like Lost Origin ain't done yet. The moment it's out of print on Pokemon or out of stock on Pokemon Center, this set is going to follow similar trends to Unified Minds and Cosmic Eclipse, Unbroken Bond, Team Up. It's not as good as Team Up. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it'll follow similar trends to those sets, that even though you might have to buy in now at a slightly higher purchase price, especially in Australia because we don't have access to Pokemon Center US, we might have to buy it at $300 at the moment. But I'm telling you, it ain't done yet at that price. Now, the third argument I wanted to make is just how damn good the artwork is in that era. Of course. I'm not saying the first Sword and Shield sets are good, because they're not. Scarlet and Violet's first 6 sets are better than Sword and Shield 6 sets, or 7 sets, however many up to now, or 8. You lose track over time, don't you? What I'm getting at is those first sets don't, but Chilling Reign onwards was phenomenal. It is reminiscent in my eyes as being as good as EX era, because EX era also had a few poor sets. EX Ruby and Sapphire wasn't great. EX Sandstorm wasn't great. But overall, the era is remembered as a phenomenal era with fantastic artwork, a tiered chase, with EX cards, and then also, of course, the Gold Star cards inside there. And Sword and Shield will go down as being remembered as something similar. And as long as, a lot of people argue, well, it was printed so much more, but as long as there's a difference between being printed a lot and short printed, because it's that whole supply and demand thing. If demand is eating up the supply, then it almost comes across as being short printed, because the printers can't keep up the supply and the amount that's being bought out and opened. So that's what I was getting at, and I'm just going to roll through some examples on the screen here. We've got sets like Fusion Strike with 2 of the most beautiful top-tier chase cards inside the whole Sword and Shield era. Chilling Reign, of course, had some absolute bangers inside it. Lost Origin, I've already mentioned that, with the Aerodactyl, and of course that Giratina, the second most expensive Sword and Shield main set card. Brilliant Stars speak for itself. It's got an alt art Charizard inside there, even Silver Tempest with the Lugia, and then of course Evolving Skies. It is one of the greatest Pokemon card sets ever made. The Umbreon is being touted as the modern day base set Charizard to pull. So I guess that's my third argument. This era is going to go down in history as some of the greatest artwork and have some of the greatest future videos of people trying to pull some of these amazing cards, amazing chase cards. So streamers will love it, which I know that's 2 points rolled into one, but the point is that the artwork's so great that people are just going to want to open it in the future, get the boxes in the future. And I guess a fourth argument or a fourth closing sort of argument is, this whole sealed collecting as becoming a collection of itself is really, really starting to take off, which is like a second tier to the demand. Not only are people buying it to open it and try and pull chase cards, whether that's just private people at home or streamers on different platforms, there's now this whole sealed collecting side of it, / even sealed investing, which is going to drive the price up of Sword and Shield sets. There's lots of people that might have re-got into the hobby during 151 and they've bought heaps of Scarlet and Violet booster boxes and they're chasing back in time a little bit to get Sword and Shield booster boxes, which is going to drive up the price. So in summary, I guess I'll link all the way back to the opening statement, which is it ain't done yet. The closing statement is it certainly ain't done yet. Sword and Shield boxes are going to go one place. In my opinion, they're going to be money printers for the foreseeable future and well into the future. So if you haven't got into Sword and Shield booster boxes yet, I suggest you do so. Hey, completely, I suppose, off topic here a little bit, but this is what I want you to look out for from another investment standpoint. So closing argument done, Sword and Shield side of it, but we mustn't be far away from Scarlet and Violet's Evo Skies. I've just been waiting for a Scarlet and Violet set to really just knock the socks off the community. 151 was incredible, of course it was, but it doesn't have a booster box. Like, I'm ready to go in hard and big into Scarlet and Violet booster box, great set. Like, I'm just waiting for that set to come about. When's it coming? I don't think Twilight Masquerade's going to be it, but surely, one or two of the following sets from Twilight Masquerade onwards must be an absolute banger. Where's the Rayquaza? Where's the Lugia? Where's the Umbreon? Where's the Espeon? Where's the big hits? Intertwined with these new Gen 9 Pokemon. When's that set coming? Because when that set comes, that's when we should all jump on board and get stuck into it. Anyway, I'm Michael. This is PokeOz, and I'll catch everyone next time.